Alright fellas, now other than Canelo Crawford, there's one other huge fight this weekend, and that is Inoue versus Akhmadaliev. For a lot of people, this has kind of gone under the radar due to several reasons, but I reckon this could end up being the best fight of the weekend. You have the legend in Inoue returning against Akhmadaliev, who's known as one of the scarier fighters within the super bantamweight division. Really, what more can you ask for? So, ahead of this huge clash, I want to talk about a potential huge mistake Inoue might be making, as well as breaking down the fight as a whole. But just quickly, if you love boxing, you've found yourself in the right place. My name's Cloyster and I make boxing videos to help keep you informed, so make sure to subscribe and I'll always keep you in the loop. Now, this is a fight for Inoue that many have been screaming for, really for years. A lot of people, including MJ himself, has said Inoue's been ducking, but simply that's not true. If Akhmadaliev would have won against Tapales, we would have seen this fight go down sooner. And if we didn't have the constant fight delays from Sam Goodman, we would have also got this fight sooner. Inoue isn't one to duck from smoke. You're talking about a guy who fought for a world title in his 6th fight. And since then, almost all of his bouts have been involving a world title, if it's a defense or going for a new one. So his whole career has been about clearing out divisions and making banger fights. Just before talking about this weekend's fights, I want to talk about a bit of a mistake that I think Team Inoue has made. Now, there's already been talk of what could be next for Inoue after Akhmadaliev. Reports pretty much suggest he's lined up to face David Picasso as a part of a Riyadh season event in December. Now, no matter the boxer, I've always felt that looking too far ahead when you have a huge fight right in front of you is always massively risky. Having negotiations of this scale happening will naturally shift some attention at least to what comes after. When you're preparing for one of the most dangerous fighters in the division, the focus ideally needs to be 100% on the task at hand. We saw a similar situation not that long ago with Tim Tszyu. His team was lining up opportunities 2 or 3 fights ahead, and it ended up with him overlooking what was right in front of him, which of course backfired. And I'm not saying the same thing will happen to Inoue, but it just does feel unnecessary to be teasing future fights right now. The opportunities will still be there after this weekend. These talks could easily happen the second he gets the win, so it makes you wonder why bring them up now. Because if things don't go Inoue's way, this will be the exact narrative people will point to. And not only that, in these press statements, they have kind of doubled down and basically announced that the card after the Picasso one will be a Day of Reckoning style card which will set up Inoue Nakatani. And Riyadh season loves to do these cards instead of actually making the fight straight away. Yep, has one of these actually gone right yet? Like the Day of Reckoning ruined the potential AJ Wilder fight, and that warm-up New York card ruined Haney Garcia too. Are we set to see this once again, third time lucky? Well, I guess only time will tell. But for the moment, the fight in front of us this weekend is a fantastic one. If you've never watched MJ, going through some of his old fights is definitely worth a watch. He's a skilled southpaw who's good at switching, he's powerful and has great ring IQ. He's especially dangerous on the counter, which he will be absolutely looking for against Inoue. Now, Inoue, of course, he's a generational talent. He's one of those boxers which we have to be grateful for whilst he's still fighting. Yet, what has been one of his main vulnerabilities over the last few fights has been southpaws. Both times he's been dropped has been from a counter shot from a southpaw position, and that's exactly the weapon MJ will bring here. But what separates MJ from the other two is just the power he has. If Inoue has not tightened up within those early rounds, he could be in a world of trouble from Akhmadaliev. But that's MJ's best chance to victory, in my opinion. One of Inoue's most underrated skills is his ability to adapt. He does his homework to begin with, and once in the ring, he adapts his game plan according to what's in front of him. And he's fantastic at it. In both the Neri and Cardenas fights, even after being knocked down, he was able to finish both fighters in tremendous fashion because of that ability to adapt. In this fight, the glaringly obvious shot MJ is going to go for is that counter. So hopefully Inoue will come out boxing accordingly. He will tighten up and not look like he did in those last couple of fights. Of course, as usual, he will aim to pressure Akhmadaliev, cut off that ring and force MJ onto the back foot. Force him into an uncomfortable position and land those power combinations. MJ's best bet seems to be that counter, but at the same time, with the amateur pedigree he has and the experience so far in his career, I wouldn't be surprised to see him put on a show on this big stage. He does remind me a little bit of, say, Madrimov when he was versing Crawford. That's his countryman who was criminally underrated, then put on a decent show. I think we're probably going to see something similar here. Another topic of debate I've seen go on about Inoue is because of those recent performances, how age might be catching up to him. Now, he's not a spring chicken, and he's recently talked about retirement, saying by the end of 2027 he'll be done, but honestly, I don't think age has caught up to him yet. If he was really feeling the impact of his age, I don't think he would be taking fights at the pace he has. If you think about it, if everything goes right, he would have had 4 world title fights just this year. From an undisputed champion, that's exactly what the sport needs as a whole, rather than the Western boxers who might have 1 defense a year and then just call it a day. Compare him to his pound-for-pound counterpart, but in the last half a decade, Inoue has had double the fights, 12 compared to 6. Boxing simply benefits from active champions. We need fights to happen to stop the sport from dying. Although, another interesting thing with this fight is where we're all gonna watch it, especially if you're from the US. If you didn't know, Top Rank Boxing has lost its deal with ESPN. So currently this fight has no broadcast home in the US. That's why you've seen multiple of their stars start to appear more frequently on other promotions. Their fighters are pretty much on lease, because there is no current home for Top Rank shows. But what has kind of been fascinating to see is they've been promoting this fight on their social media, their Western channels, with no feasible way for us fans to watch it officially. Now, there is a Top Rank stream for the Western market because it's available through Australian pay-per-view providers, so I can access it. And it also seems like there's some sort of weird South American agreement to stream the fight through Disney Plus with ESPN. I don't know what's going on, but South America's sweet. But for US viewers, I'm not sure how they're going to watch it, at least officially. From all I've seen, there's no broadcast home for this fight in the US, which is a huge shame. If there's any updates, make sure to leave them in the comments so people can find out. Hopefully something is sorted out in the next day or two, because having a top pound-for-pound rated fighter who's fighting with a Western broadcast and that not being broadcasted into what really is the mecca of boxing, which is the States, is a puzzling move. At least offer it through some Top Rank streaming service. I don't know, it's a shame for the fans over there. But it might be the last time we see a Top Rank show in the near future. They haven't signed on to any other network, so unless somebody like DAZN steps in, this honestly might be the last we see of Top Rank shows, at least for a little while. We'll see what happens next. Yet regardless, make sure you find a way to watch this fight, because it's gonna be a banger. I think we'll probably see Inoue get the win, but now I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think of this fight? Who do you have winning? How are they going to win? I want to hear all your thoughts in the comments down below. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does a ton to help the channel. Yet, thanks for watching, fellas, and I'll catch you in the next one.